Jerome Girolando writes, "Hey everyone, excellent work. I love the show. I have some questions to ask. One is for a movie show. How come you don't do videos solely dedicated on a movie review? I would like to hear all of your opinions for different films. Also, have you guys thought of doing TV news? I understand that the show is called AMC Movie Talk, but I feel in my opinion that some shows are worth talking about and some can really be compared to films now in terms of quality. Thanks for reading, if you did, and have a great day."
Thank you so much for the question. First of all, let's deal with the movie reviews thing. I get asked a lot, why don't we do more movie reviews? Why don't we do more movie reviews? We've done two, I believe two. I think we've done 2 movie reviews. We did one for Man of Steel, and we did one for Pacific Rim, I believe. Both of which were wonderfully received. Thank you so much for your response to those things. But here's the big problem that we face. A lot of people will do movie reviews, and they do it so they can get traffic and views and to tell you whether or not you should go see a movie. That puts us at AMC, and look, I'm part of the AMC world here, so puts me in a very awkward position that there's a conflict of interest there, right? Because AMC is partnering with all these studios for all the AMC wants you to go out and see every movie. Of course, we want you to do that. That's the business. Like Ford would love for you to buy every single one of their cars. And so we are partners in many ways with these studios. So there is an inherent conflict of interest for me to get on. And if I don't like a movie, to get on and say, hey, that movie that's opening up this week in AMC theaters everywhere, piece of crap. Avoid it. I mean, that's a conflict of interest, right? Now, at the same time, I'm just the type of stubborn Italian dude. I will never tell you I like something if I do not like it. Ever. No matter what. And AMC is the type of company that has enough integrity that they would never, ever ask me to do such a thing. AMC would never say, hey, John, we're opening up this little independent film in AMC. Can you get on there and talk about how much you like it? But I didn't like it. Yeah, say you like it anyway. I quit. I mean, that's how that conversation would go. But AMC's got too much integrity to ask me to ever do something like that. So it puts us in a bit of an awkward spot. What I am playing with, and maybe they're going to be mad at me for telling you this, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway. What I am playing with is a way of doing movie reviews that kind of gets around that. Because whereas most movie reviews are here to tell you whether or not you should go see them, I'm thinking about doing movie reviews moving forward, maybe once we get into early 2014, that is not to tell you whether or not you should see the film, but it's going to be like our Man of Steel and Pacific Rim, completely spoiler-filled, assuming you've already seen the film. So maybe doing a review of, like, say, Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man, a few days after it opens and saying this review is only for people who have already seen the film because this is going to be completely spoiler-filled. And maybe that then takes away that conflict of interest. Because if it's for people who've already seen the movie, then we're not turning anybody away from seeing the movie. But that's a very fine line. Even I have to acknowledge that's a very fine line. So maybe we're going to start doing more movie reviews in the very near future. Maybe we won't. It is an issue that we're looking at. As far as TV news, I'm addressing this because it is unbelievable how many questions come into the mailbag asking about, hey, John, did you see the new Batman animated TV series? What do you think? Or, John, did you watch the latest episode of Homeland Security? I thought this was great. I'd love to hear your thoughts. We don't do TV shows. This is AMC.
We're a movie theater.
Not only is it AMC Movie Talk, the whole company, AMC, we have nothing to do with television. Now, a lot of people think that the AMC television network that carries Walking Dead, that we are somehow associated. I'm going to let you know a little secret. I worked with AMC for 3 months before I realized we were two completely different companies. And I even had Anthony Hopkins. I had Anthony Hopkins when I first met him. You mentioned I work with AMC. Oh, yeah, lovely theaters, and I love your television shows and blah, blah, blah. Oh, actually, and I had to tell him we don't make television shows. So AMC as a company has nothing to do with television. And as far as the comment goes about how some television approaches the quality of film, I have to disagree. Television doesn't approach the quality of film. Now, before you start jumping up and down saying John's, hating on TV, not at all. I'm a big TV fan. But they are two completely different things. Now, I've explained this in the show before, but I think it bears repeating. With a movie, you have 2 hours, give or take 20 minutes, sometimes an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours and 15 minutes, whatever. You basically have 2 hours to introduce your characters, introduce your villains, get us associated with them and make us care about them, then introduce the plot and what the driving conflict of the story is, because every story has a conflict, whether it's a conflict between people, between man and nature, between man and himself, whatever. There's always a conflict. So introduce us to the conflict, show us the progression of the conflict, bring the conflict to a resolution, and then tie up the film. 2 hours to do it. In television, I've watched some shows where I've gotten into episode 6 and they still haven't told me what's going on. I mean, we've had some amazing TV series like Spartacus. Oh my God, did I love Spartacus. And the first 3 or 4 episodes of that show, some of the worst television in history. And the only reason I stuck with it is because a very dear close friend of mine was one of the stars in the show. But I wouldn't have kept watching it if it wasn't for that. But I'm so glad I did, because it started to get awesome and awesome and awesome. And then by the end of the season, you had a great story. After 14 hours of television. So television and movies are 2 very different things. Like, everybody keeps telling me I need to watch The Wire, which I've got queued up. I'm going to be watching The Wire here pretty soon, because I've never had a chance to watch it. I'm going to watch like the entire series probably in about a week. But I haven't started but I've had a lot of people tell me who love the show saying, now, you just kind of got to get through the first season. Movies don't have that luxury.
Right.
You don't have the first 3 hours to kind of just meander a bit and simmer something. And that's the great thing about television, right? You can take your time. You can really make it slow, and you can very quietly build up to things. Movies, you can't do that. Completely different things. So movies and television shows, completely different things that require completely different commitments. Guess what? If I'm going to watch this season of Sons of Anarchy, I have to commit 13 nights to watching, the shows are about an hour and a half now, so to watching almost 20 hours of television if I want to get my Sons of Anarchy story. If I want to watch The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I got to commit 1 night and 2 hours. Boom, done. And it does everything in 2 hours. So there are advantages to both, there are disadvantages to both, but they are 2 very different things. And the main reason you'll never hear us talk about TV news is because we're a movie show with belonging to a movie company.
Yeah.
So please, guys, I really love the fact that you guys send in questions, but please, no more questions about television, because that is not what we do. I mean, we might as well be talking about the Syria conflict today, because that's as much associated with us as talking about Sons of Anarchy, even though I mention Sons of Anarchy now and again anyway, because that's what I love. But anyway, that's that.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news, and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.